Stop everything. Right now. If your eyes have found this message on October 16th, you need to understand something immediately. This wasn't coincidence. This was appointment. There are billions of people on this earth, millions of messages flooding through devices every single second. But your eyes landed here. Your attention was pulled to these exact words. Do you really think that's random? Let me tell you what's actually happening right now, in this very moment. Divine intelligence doesn't operate on human schedules. It doesn't send calendars or invitations in the mail. It doesn't knock politely and wait for you to be ready. When the moment arrives, it creates an undeniable pull, a magnetic force that cuts through every distraction, every doubt, every excuse you've been hiding behind. And October 16th, this isn't just another day. This is a cosmic roll call. Right now, across dimensions you can't see with physical eyes, there is a scanning taking place. Heaven itself is identifying those who are ready, not those who say they're ready, not those who hope they're ready, but those whose souls have reached the frequency of activation. You felt it, didn't you? Maybe weeks ago, maybe this morning. That strange sensation, like something big is about to break open. That feeling in your chest, like destiny is pressing against your ribs, demanding to be born. That inexplicable knowing that your old life is ending and something monumental is beginning. That's not anxiety. That's not fear. That's recognition. Your soul recognizes the sound of its own name being called from the invisible realms. And when heaven calls your name, it doesn't sound like thunder or trumpets. It sounds like this, like an algorithm that shouldn't have shown you this message, but did. Like a moment of impulse that made you click, like an invisible hand guiding your attention to this exact transmission. The chosen ones don't choose themselves. They respond to a calling they can't explain to people who wouldn't understand anyway. So here's what I need you to grasp right now. You didn't find this message. This message found you. It was sent through the fabric of reality, encoded into this specific date, designed to reach only those whose names are written in the Book of the Awakened. October 16th is the day the seal breaks, the day the cosmic roll call is read aloud, the day when those who have been prepared in secret are finally called into public assignment. And if you're hearing this, your name just echoed through eternity. Now let me explain what's happening on a deeper level. October 16th isn't just a moment of calling. It's a celestial checkpoint, a divine threshold where indecision ends and direction becomes permanent. You've been in a season of uncertainty, haven't you? Caught between two versions of yourself, the old you that people recognize and the new you that's been forming in the secret chambers of your soul. You felt split, torn, unsure which path to take, which voice to trust, which version of reality to believe in. That ends today, because what's happening right now is called the sealing of the new path. And when heaven seals a path, there's no more wavering, no more detours, no more going back to what used to be comfortable. Think of it like this. Imagine you've been walking through a vast corridor with 1,000 doors. Each door represented a possibility, a choice, a potential future. And you've been standing there, frozen, trying to decide which door to open, paralyzed by the fear of choosing wrong. But on October 16th, something shifts. The corridor narrows, the doors disappear, all except one. And that one door swings open by itself, pulled by an invisible hand. And suddenly, you're not choosing anymore. You're being chosen. You're being pulled forward, fast, with a force that makes hesitation impossible. This is what divine direction feels like. It doesn't feel like gentle guidance. It feels like destiny tightening its grip around your life, forcing you forward whether you feel ready or not. You're about to feel the sensation of time collapsing. Like months of decisions are being made in moments. Like years of confusion are being answered in a single day. Like the universe itself got tired of waiting for you to move and decided to move you instead. The sealing of the path means this: what you've been is locked in the past. What you're becoming is locked in the future. And the bridge between them is being walked right now. No more delay. No more when I'm ready. No more after I figure this out. The path is sealed. You're on it. And there's no exit ramp. If that terrifies you, good. That means you're feeling the magnitude of this moment. But if it exhilarates you, even better. That means your soul recognizes what your mind is still catching up to understand. October 16th is the day destiny stops asking permission. Now we enter the miracles themselves. And the first one is so powerful, so sudden, so undeniable, that it will make you question everything you thought was permanent. This is the miracle of the reversal. Here's what you need to understand. Divine forces don't just move forward. They move backward to correct what was corrupted. They rewind the storyline, flip the script, and reverse outcomes that looked final. You've been living with closed doors, situations that seemed irreversible, relationships that ended in betrayal, opportunities that slipped through your fingers, timelines that collapsed before they could bloom. And you've made peace with it, haven't you? You've told yourself, that's just how it is. Some things aren't meant to be. But what if I told you that the divine doesn't recognize meant to be when it was actually meant to destroy you? The reversal is the moment when everything that once resisted you suddenly submits, when doors that were locked for years fly open in a single day, when people who rejected you suddenly see your value with blinding clarity, when systems that blocked you start working in your favor without explanation. And here's the key. The reversal doesn't happen gradually. It happens suddenly. One event, one conversation, one seemingly small moment that flips the entire game board. False timelines, they're collapsing. Fake friends, they're being exposed. Hidden enemies, they're being revealed. Not because you're hunting for them, but because light doesn't negotiate with darkness. When divine favor turns its attention toward you, everything counterfeit runs for cover. You're going to witness this. Maybe not today, maybe not this week, but soon. So soon. You're going to see someone who doubted you suddenly offering what they once withheld. You're going to receive a message from a door you thought was permanently sealed. You're going to feel the universe itself apologize for the delays and deliver compensation so overwhelming it takes your breath away. This isn't karma. Karma is human mathematics. This is divine justice. And divine justice doesn't just settle scores. It reverses the theft. It doesn't just restore what was lost. It multiplies the return. The first miracle is the moment when heaven says, enough. Everything that came against my chosen one will now work for them instead. And when that reversal hits, it doesn't whisper. It roars. The second miracle is even more personal, more interior, more transformative. This is the miracle of the recall of power. You know that feeling when you suddenly remember something you forgot, like a word you couldn't recall, a memory you lost, a name that was on the tip of your tongue. And then suddenly, it clicks. It rushes back, and you wonder how you ever forgot it in the first place. That's what's happening to chosen ones right now. But it's not a word they're remembering. It's their authority. You were born with divine power, not the kind of power that manipulates or controls, the kind of power that commands reality itself, the kind of power that makes demons tremble and angels stand at attention, the kind of power that turns deserts into gardens and chaos into order. But somewhere along the way, you forgot. Life beat it out of you. Religion told you to be humble and powerless. Society trained you to shrink, to doubt, to apologize for taking up space. Trauma convinced you that you were a victim, not a victor. And so, you've been walking through life like a king who forgot he owns the kingdom, like a storm that forgot it could thunder, like a lion who believed it was a house cat. But the recall of power is happening now. You're going to notice it in small ways first. Your words will start landing differently. When you speak, people will listen with an intensity they never had before. When you make decisions, reality will respond faster. When you set boundaries, they'll hold without you having to defend them. This isn't because you're trying harder. This isn't because you took a course or read a book. This is because your original operating system is being restored. You were never meant to beg. You were meant to decree. You were never meant to hope. You were meant to command. You were never meant to wait for permission. You were meant to authorize. And the moment you remember this, truly remember it in the core of your being, the entire atmosphere around you shifts. People sense it even if they can't name it. Opportunities start bending toward you. Obstacles step aside without you pushing, because power recognizes power. And when you walk in the remembrance of who you truly are, the universe has no choice but to bow. This isn't arrogance. Arrogance is false power trying to convince others. This is divine authority, remembering itself. And there's nothing more dangerous to the kingdom of darkness than a chosen one who just remembered their royalty. The second miracle isn't giving you something new. It's returning what was always yours. Now we move into the realm of divine orchestration. The third miracle, the anointed alignment. Pay attention, because this is where the invisible hand of heaven starts rearranging your reality like a master chess player moving pieces you didn't even know were on the board. Have you ever experienced a moment where the exact right person showed up at the exact right time with the exact right answer? And you thought, wow, what a coincidence. Let me tell you something. There are no coincidences in the life of the chosen. There is only divine choreography. The anointed alignment is when connections, opportunities, and people begin appearing as if drawn by destiny's magnet. Except it's not as if. They are being drawn, pulled, positioned, placed into your path with supernatural precision. You're about to meet people who feel strangely familiar even though you've never met them before. People who speak the language of your soul. People who don't need long explanations because they just get it. These aren't accidents. These are assignments, divine appointments hidden inside human interactions. And here's what makes this miracle so powerful. You won't have to chase these connections. You won't have to force these opportunities. You won't have to convince or perform or prove yourself worthy. Because when heaven aligns something, it doesn't need your hustle. It needs your recognition. The chosen feel time rearranging around their purpose. Meetings that should have happened years ago suddenly happen today. Resources that seemed out of reach suddenly land in their lap. Doors that required 1,000 steps to reach suddenly appear right in front of them. This is what it feels like when the divine starts treating you like the VIP of your own story. Everything bends, everything shifts, everything aligns. But here's the catch. You have to be willing to release what doesn't align. Because alignment isn't just about addition, it's also about subtraction. People who don't belong in your next chapter will start feeling uncomfortable in your presence. Environments that once felt like home will suddenly feel suffocating. Old patterns that used to bring comfort will suddenly feel like chains, and you'll have to let them go. Not with bitterness, but with gratitude, because you can't walk into divine alignment while carrying things that were never meant for the journey. The third miracle is heaven saying, "I've prepared the table, I've seated the guests. Now come and take your place." The fourth miracle is the quietest, but perhaps the most profound. This is the miracle of the voice within the silence. Most people think divine guidance sounds like thundering commands from the sky. They think revelation comes with fireworks and angels and unmistakable signs that even a skeptic couldn't deny. But the chosen ones, they learn a different language. There's a moment coming, maybe it's already happened, where you're going to experience a depth of silence you've never known before. Not the silence of absence, not the silence of being ignored, but the silence of arrival. It's the silence that comes after the storm. The silence that comes after the question has been answered. The silence that comes when you no longer need confirmation because you've become the confirmation. In this silence, you'll realize something staggering. You don't need to ask for permission anymore. You don't need to check with 10 people before making a move. You don't need signs or fleeting feelings or external validation. Because the guidance isn't external anymore. It's internal. It's woven into your very being. Your inner knowing becomes command. You'll say something out loud and realize it's not a hope, it's a decree. You'll make a decision and feel zero doubt, zero second guessing, zero, what if I'm wrong? Because in that moment, you're not guessing, you're knowing. And here's where it gets mystical. The silence itself becomes language. You'll sit in a quiet room and receive more wisdom than you could from 1,000 books. You'll close your eyes and see more clearly than you ever did with them open. You'll stop asking, "What should I do?" because you'll simply know. This is the mark of spiritual maturity. This is what separates the chosen from the confused. The confused need constant signs. The chosen are the sign. When you reach this level, people around you will start asking you for guidance. They'll say, "How did you know that?" And you won't be able to explain it in a way that satisfies them, because you didn't learn it. You didn't study it. You became it. The fourth miracle is the moment when the voice of God stops sounding like something outside of you and starts sounding like you. The truest, deepest, most sovereign version of you that's ever existed. And when that voice speaks, reality listens. Now we move into the realm of revelation. The fifth miracle, the unmasking. Brace yourself, because this one is both liberating and unsettling. Illusions are collapsing everywhere, all around you. And I'm not just talking about the obvious lies. I'm talking about the sophisticated deceptions, the ones that looked like truth, the ones that sounded spiritual, the ones that felt safe. The unmasking is when people, systems, and beliefs can no longer hide behind pretense, when the mask slips, when the performance ends, when what's real becomes undeniably visible. The chosen are receiving supernatural clarity right now. It's like someone turned up the resolution on their spiritual vision. They see motives they couldn't see before. They sense agendas hiding behind kindness. They recognize manipulation disguised as care. And it's not paranoia. It's not suspicion. It's revelation. Divine eyesight activated. You might find yourself suddenly seeing through someone you trusted. Not because they changed, but because you did. Your frequency shifted, and now you can see what was always there but hidden beneath the surface. This can be painful, because some of the people being unmasked, they're people you loved, people you defended, people you believed in. But here's what you need to understand. The unmasking isn't meant to make you bitter. It's meant to make you free, because you can't walk into your destiny while surrounded by wolves in sheep's clothing. You can't fulfill your divine assignment while being drained by energy vampires disguised as friends. You can't rise to your calling while entangled with people whose hidden mission is to keep you small. The fifth miracle gives you X-ray vision. You see beyond words into intentions. You feel beyond smiles into spirits. You sense beyond actions into hearts. And once you see, you can't unsee. Once you know, you can't unknow. This is why the chosen often feel lonely during this phase, because they're seeing truths that others are still blind to. They're recognizing patterns that others dismiss as overthinking. They're sensing danger that others call love. But don't mistake loneliness for abandonment. You're not losing connections. You're being protected. Heaven is removing people who would sabotage your next level. The unmasking is divine surgery, cutting away what would poison your purpose. And once the masks fall, once the illusions collapse, you'll find yourself standing in a circle of true allies. Fewer people, yes, but real people, authentic people, people whose presence doesn't require you to perform or pretend. The fifth miracle is illumination. And illumination doesn't just reveal the darkness, it reveals where the light has been hiding all along. The sixth miracle is one that will make you weep with relief. This is the miracle of the restoration of time. You've lost years, haven't you? Years to the wrong people. Years to the wrong paths. Years to delays that felt like divine punishment. Years watching others succeed while you remained stuck in a season that refused to end. And you've wondered, will I ever catch up? Have I wasted too much time? Is it too late for me? Let me answer that with a thunderclap of truth. When heaven decides to move, time itself obeys. The restoration of time is when delays evaporate, when destiny compresses, when progress that should take years happens in days. You're about to step into what I call the acceleration zone. This is a supernatural space where divine favor bends the rules of linear time, where one conversation opens 10 doors, where one decision shifts an entire trajectory, where one breakthrough makes up for a decade of setbacks. This isn't just things speeding up. This is time bowing to obedience. Because here's the secret. Most people don't realize. Time isn't the enemy. Disobedience is. Every time you ignored your inner knowing, you added time to the journey. Every time you stayed where you should have left, you delayed the promise. Every time you chose comfort over calling, you extended the wilderness season. But the moment you align with divine will, time starts working for you instead of against you. You'll receive promotions you didn't apply for, opportunities you didn't chase, breakthroughs you didn't strategize. Because when heaven restores time, it doesn't just give you back what you lost, it multiplies the return. Think about it. In the Bible, the Israelites wandered for 40 years, but Joshua's generation, they crossed the Jordan in days. Same promise, different obedience, different timeline. You're Joshua's generation. You're the ones who get to walk into the promise without the wilderness. You're the ones who get to experience acceleration without the decades of delay. And here's how you'll know it's happening. You'll look at your life 6 months from now and barely recognize it. Doors will have opened that you forgot you prayed for. People will be in your life that you didn't see coming. Levels will be unlocked that you thought required 10 more years of grinding. The sixth miracle is heaven saying, I'm giving you back the years the locusts ate, and I'm adding interest. And now we arrive at the final miracle, the culmination, the moment everything has been building toward. This is the seventh miracle, the rise. October 16th isn't just a date, it's a breaking point. A moment when a seal that's been holding you back shatters. A moment when permission is no longer required because authority has been granted. You've been waiting for a sign. You've been waiting to feel ready. You've been waiting for someone to tell you, yes, now is your time. But what if I told you the moment itself is the sign? The fact that you're here, reading these words, feeling this pull, sensing this shift, that is your confirmation. That's heaven tapping you on the shoulder and saying, stop waiting, start rising. The rise isn't a feeling, it's a decision, backed by divine decree. It's the decision to stop shrinking, to make others comfortable. It's the decision to stop apologizing for your gifts. It's the decision to stop playing small in a world that desperately needs you to stand tall. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are the permission. You are no longer hoping for an opportunity. You are the opportunity. You are no longer seeking validation. You are the validation. The chosen ones rising right now aren't doing it because they feel qualified. They're doing it because they're called. And when heaven calls, readiness is irrelevant. Obedience is everything. You're about to stand in full divine identity, not the version of yourself that people are comfortable with, the version that makes angels stand at attention, the version that makes darkness tremble, the version that's been buried under years of conditioning, trauma, and fear. And when you rise, it won't be quiet, it won't be subtle, it will be undeniable. People will notice. Some will celebrate. Some will criticize. Some will be confused. But none of that matters, because you're not rising for their approval. You're rising because heaven authorized it. This is your moment. October 16th is the day the seal breaks, the day the cage door swings open, the day the permission you've been waiting for dissolves because you realize you never needed it in the first place. So here's your final instruction. Rise. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Not after you figure it all out. Now. Rise from the ashes of who you used to be. Rise from the doubt that's kept you paralyzed. Rise from the fear that's kept you hidden. Rise from the smallness that was never your true size. Because the world doesn't need another person playing it safe. The world needs you, the real you, standing in the fullness of your divine identity, wielding the authority you were born to carry, walking in the power you just remembered, aligned with the destiny you can no longer deny. The seventh miracle is the rise. And it's not coming, it's here. It's now. So stop reading and start becoming. The miracles are calling your name. And heaven is watching to see if you'll answer. It's time to rise.